Welcome to another exciting episode of the Fort Johnson podcast, where we delve into the heartbeat of our military community. Today, we have a truly special guest joining us, none other than the Commanding General of the Joint Readiness Training Center and Fort Johnson, Brigadier General David W. Gardner. Brigadier General Gardner, who graduated from the United States Military Academy in 1994, has had an illustrious career serving in a variety of maneuver roles before taking the helm at JRTC and Fort Johnson. A leader known for his dedication and commitment, he is charged with the critical task of ensuring our local units and rotational training units encounter realistic and a decisive training experience. Throughout this episode, we will be discussing General Gardner's journey, his vision for Fort Johnson, and how he continues to embody the warrior spirit in his role. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an insightful conversation with Brigadier General David W. Gardner. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this podcast. I am Jeff England from the Fort Johnson Public Affairs Office, and we are in the podcast studio. Today, I have with me General Gardner from Fort Johnson Command Center, Building 350, his own building. So how are you doing?
We share it.
You are known as the Commanding General, and I am very impressed with all the great things that you've done in your time since you've been here, and you've followed the transition from Fort Johnson from Fort Polk to Fort Johnson, a historic moment in our history, and you just continue to do great things. How are you enjoying your command here?
Well, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the kind words. I enjoy every day, that I get to be here. It's a great place to serve. I think we do some important work here, and we've got a great community on the installation, off the installation. Just really enjoy the people that I work with, including you. It's just a pleasure to really get up in the morning. As I say, I don't necessarily like getting out of bed every morning, because I do enjoy the comfort, and you got to break your way out of there. But once I'm out of bed and I'm getting ready to come to work, I'm really excited to start each day.
Now, you seem to be a real soldier's general, and you've done some excellent programs and things, and you've also done a lot of recruiting to come to here for. You've got the
winning the fight for talent.
Winning the fight for talent, and so you go around to other installations and talking up. When you were the commander of Ops Group before became
correct, from 2018 to 2020,
and now you came back and you were you just biting at the bit, just waiting to get back to command this whole installation?
Well, obviously I didn't appreciate that I would come back in the first place, and then we found out about it a few months out from getting back here, and my wife and I were both very excited. Not so much because we had the list of things that we wanted to come take care of, but just excited to be part of this place again, because it is a great assignment.
And the next stop on every general that I've seen in here, or almost every general, at least everyone that I can remember, has gone on to get another star and move on up the ranks. And what's your ultimate goal here?
Honestly, and it's funny, anybody who's known me for the past 10 or 15 years would tell you, I just really enjoy serving, and there is a shelf life for all of us. So to me, things like further assignments, promotions, really at this stage of the game, that just means you get to do it longer. It's not necessarily an aspirational sort of thing. It doesn't mean that I necessarily want to achieve more things and get promoted and get larger assignments and things like that. It really is an opportunity just to continue to serve. This is all I've ever wanted to do. I say, and I'm not completely joking, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So what those things mean to me is they mean additional time where we can keep doing this thing. I mean, it's been over 30 years since I entered the academy and raised my right hand. So.
1994. That'll be next year. It'll be 30 years.
Yeah.
So are officers allowed to go up to 40 years, or is there like no limit on that?
Well, there typically is. I mean, it's like anything else. There's limits for every rank band, so to speak. So, everything from, how long someone can serve as a sergeant to how long they can serve as a sergeant major to how long they can serve as a colonel or a general. When we get promoted and get our orders for a one-star general, it says on the orders, it's unique on promotion orders. It says, okay, you got to serve at least 3 years, and you can't serve more than 5 if you don't get promoted, right? Because we are all exceeding 30 years, and typically 30 years is the maximum you're allowed to serve. And so typically for our nominative sergeants majors and for our general officers, we can continue to serve based on my point earlier, either advancement or further assignments. Then there's both an age limit and a service. So we have some of our 4-stars that have gotten to 40 years. I'm not sure that's in the future for me, and that's probably quite long. But I do appreciate that they're willing to serve that long, and I'd be happy to do this, forever.
Yeah, it is awesome. I mean, I made the mistake of getting the grass is greener syndrome when I was younger, and got out and couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I could have made it all the way. I could have made it at least another rank. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you graduated from the military academy. Now that's different from West Point, right?
No, same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing. So
yeah, U.S. Military Academy at West Point. So West Point for short.
I've always thought it was West Point, and then the Air Force Academy and the Naval Academy.
Yeah, well, and they don't have, Naval Academy, they'll say Annapolis for short sometimes. They don't really have a shorthand for the Air Force Academy, and then there's other, military academies that are private colleges that have ROTC as part of that, Citadel, VMI, Norwich, et cetera. But the only U.S. Military Academy for Army, at least, is West Point. The interesting fact people don't realize either is that sometimes people will go to a service academy but go to another branch. So you will have people that go to West Point and actually join the Marines or the Navy or the Air Force, and the same thing occurs at the Naval Academy, et cetera.
Now that wouldn't hold anybody back on.
No.
Nobody looks down on that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we kid our classmates when we know that they're doing that. But, maybe they didn't realize when they joined, what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So what'd you major in?
So I was a physics major actually at West Point.
Physics.
Yeah. It's amazing the influence that someone can have through their leadership and the way they are. And so, I was not exactly sure what I wanted to major in. I really enjoy history, but I learned early on that I don't like being made to read history, right? I don't like, this is what you have to read. This is how many pages you have to read. And then I want to know this, right? And that in a lot of ways was history, right? I enjoy it for enjoyment's sake. But I had my sophomore year, we call them yearlings at West Point. My sophomore year, everyone has to take physics. We had a really good physics professor. And frankly, that year, we were about twice as many people that majored in physics after having that class with that professor. And I've enjoyed it because while I haven't done anything with it, it did prepare me, for some of the more mechanical and scientific things that we have to deal with once in a while in the military, but in particular math and statistics, and it was a good foundation for that. I haven't touched it since your pure physics. I mean, nobody asks a general, hey, can you tell me how fast this apple has fallen from the tree, or they don't want the general to figure out the ballistic solution for the artillery round, right? So it's not very useful in that.
Yeah, from what I hear, physics is really helpful in being a pilot also.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that you have an appreciation for that if you're trying to keep that thing afloat.
How fast is the plane going to fall?
Yeah.
So you graduated from there, and you went. Have you gotten back? That was you graduated with a bachelor's, or
yes,
and then you went back for higher degrees.
Yeah, I went back for a few times to graduate school, and that's one of the great things about the Army. And I think we've gotten better about it over time even. But I initially went back. There was a program years ago that took officers that wanted to stay in their basic branch and stay in operational career fields, and offered us an opportunity to go get a graduate degree and then serve a utilization for a couple of years in the Pentagon to understand how big Army works. And then we went back into the force. And there's a number of us still floating around the Army right now. One in particular is Major General Buzzard, who commands the Maneuver Center of Excellence. So he and I did the program a year apart. So that was a fantastic program. And then a couple of the professional military education schools that I went to for the Command and General Staff credit, and also as a major and also as a colonel for the War College credit, those also were accredited programs that delivered master's degrees as well.
And that's so cool. The opportunities that the military gives. Now, what would you give? What kind of advice would you give for like some enlisted people that are looking to go from green to gold and want to achieve as best they can?
Yeah, I think from green to gold, I think one is, do some things to pursue your advanced education while you're still serving as an enlisted soldier, because there are a lot of great opportunities. We have a lot of great opportunities here. We have a fantastic education center. I am always reading positive comments about how helpful they are. We've also got, for example, here 3 colleges and universities we partner with that not only help soldiers, but will offer discounts to family members, et cetera. They accept tuition assistance. And so I think that's the first thing, is to advance some of that education before you do that. Then I think the second thing is be a good soldier. Make sure your chain of command understands that that's something that you're interested in pursuing. And I think it's really valuable. I think some of the best officers I've served with, have been enlisted and they've gone green to gold and OCS, as well as direct commissioning out of a military academy or ROTC. So I think it's helpful that we have that eclectic bunch that have different experiences.
Now, have you been able to recommend anybody for the military academy? Because I know to get into the Air Force Academy, I'm sure it's the same for all the academies. You have to get like a congressman to endorse you. Have you ever gotten to write?
Yeah, so not so much on the military academy side, and you're correct. I mean, there's a certain number, for example, of soldiers. By the way, there's a certain number of nominations that are given to active duty soldiers. So you can not necessarily, if you want to go green to gold, you want to go OCS, that's great, but you can also go to the military academy and you can apply as a soldier for the military academy. I have seen some soldiers do that successfully. The best thing I get to do as the commanding general here is every year, in fact, we're doing it right now, is soldiers can put together green to gold packets through their chain of command, and the senior commanders like me have a real weight in who is selected when we send that to the Army and say, hey, select these 2 or 3. Last year, I believe we sent 3 forward, and that's a fantastic thing that we get to be part of to help some of those soldiers.
That's so cool. So if you're interested in becoming an officer, work your way up and do what it takes. Do what it takes. Get some some community involvement in your college and show some initiative and go out there. Since you've been here, or when you got your orders that you'll be coming here to be the commander, what was your vision? What did you want to accomplish? What were some of your goals that you wanted to get done?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I don't know that I've never necessarily joined a place with a vision in mind for what I wanted to do. And I think part of that is because the only thing that changes at the change of command is you. And I think it's somewhat self-centered to have that feeling like I'm going to go to that place and this is what I'm going to do. At the same time, I think that when you have an opportunity to do transition, when you listen to some of the folks as you're coming in, you start to get a sense of a place. What I would tell you is, as I got ready to do the change of command speech, what really occurred to me was this notion that everyone understands that JRTC is a great place to train. It's really a crown jewel for our Army. What I don't think people appreciate as much is that it's also a great place to live. And I think that the soldiers that get to live here have a different perspective with their families than perhaps outside in the rest of the Army who have not had an opportunity to come here. Too many people form their impressions based on a combat training center rotation, which isn't the same thing. I mean, we don't bring the families here. You're pretty much just at North Fort or in Alexandria. Then you're going into the woods.
Then you're living in the mud.
Yeah, and that's how you spend your time. So what really occurred to me, and so if there was anything that I came here wanting to do, is make sure that I did my part to help people understand that it's a great place to live as well. And the other pieces were different than many installations. We have an "and" in our name. We're JRTC and Fort Johnson, not just Fort Campbell or Fort Cavazos or Fort Liberty. We've got 2 very distinct missions. When you compare us to the National Training Center, for example, they are very focused on the Combat Training Center. We have, 3/4 to 80% of our soldiers are FORCE-COM deployable units. So another thing important to me from an external and an internal messaging piece was, let's not forget that it's a great place to train and it's a great place to live, but we are really good at deploying our soldiers and bringing them home the right way and taking care of their families. And so, that's really probably the number one thing that I wanted to do when I got here, recognizing that there was a lot of great stuff that was going on, and my job was to keep that going and make it better and listen to where the people that were already here thought we needed to make improvements.
Yeah, I learned a little too late in my career that it turns out you could be miserable anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like I went to some of the nicest places and I was miserable because I had the wrong attitude. When I realized it, it was on my way here. And when I got my job here, it's like, this is it. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to be happy. And I got down here and it was all attitude. I came here with a great attitude, and it turns out that you can be miserable anywhere. You can be happy anywhere. And it just takes a decision to look at the positives instead of looking at all the negatives all the time. It's like, man, this is great. And it was great. And I've accomplished a lot since I've been down here. And it's all because of Fort Johnson.
Yeah. Well, I think the other piece of that is, to your point, you do have agency in your happiness and being happy in places. That doesn't mean that you'll run into challenges that are beyond your control. And I think one of the things that's important as well is that you're able to provide that constructive feedback. I mean, that's, one of the things that I tell newcomers every Friday, and I've done, over 50 of those, right? Because I've missed only a few since I've been here every week. I talk to people about the importance of honesty and that honest feedback. And so, I just coming from the PCS breakfast where we're listening to some of the soldiers on their way out, the newcomers brief, when we do the walking town halls in the housing area, we do the walking town halls in the barracks as well. I think not just, deciding that you're going to try to make the best of any situation, but also to provide the constructive feedback, because there's so many things that we've gotten from soldiers and family members that have helped us understand what is, giving them frustration, or some good constructive things that we might be able to make better, and we might not see that. And so I think you not only can decide that you're going to make the best of things, but I think you can decide that you're going to be part of the team that makes things better and give that feedback and try to work towards a better solution so that everyone can benefit.
Absolutely. The quality of life conference that we had here, and we've had that a couple of years now.
Yeah,
and
it's actually going on this afternoon, and it's both that and the Army Family Action Plan, AFAP for short. Those are going on this week. We've asked soldiers and family members to be part of that, and that's great feedback. I'm going to spend all afternoon listening to what those suggestions are, and then the ones that we can't solve, we'll pass to the Army.
Yeah, there always seems to be somebody that can take care of it. If there's a problem, there's always somebody out there that can take care of it. It's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. It's like, no, let's make a change. And, and usually it happens. Now, I've seen the quality of life behind these fences and behind the gates. The quality of life has improved so much since I've been here, and it just keeps getting better. And the surrounding communities, there might be a little far to drive, but we still have so much to do outside the gates if you're willing to take a short ride. I mean, it's not every installation that has a lake resort for camping.
Yeah, like Toledo Bay.
Yeah. And the programs that we've got going on here, it's whatever you want to do, especially, and a lot of people say, well, if you're not into outdoor hunting and fishing, then you're not gonna have fun. It's like, no, there's other things to do too.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's all relative. I mean, I'm a New York City, is where I, was born and raised in New York City since I was 3 years old. And so that's my, kind of experience growing up. Does this surrounding community have everything that my city had to be able to do? No. At the same time, can I get to things a lot quicker that there is to do here than I can in New York? Absolutely. I don't miss the traffic. My son was in college in Atlanta. My wife and I really enjoyed Atlanta. What we did not enjoy after about 12 hours was the traffic. up at JBLM, in Fort Lewis, the old Fort Lewis, Washington, their airport is not as far as our airport, but it takes about as long, right? Because of traffic.
Yeah.
And you're never quite sure how long it's going to take you. And as I say, it's 55 minutes from my door to the ticket counter every single day, 7 days a week, regardless of the time. I know how long it's gonna take me. And I think people underappreciate that there's good places to eat here. I think they underappreciate that you can get a lot of your basic needs all around town. If there's some specific things you want, going up to Alexandria or Lake Charles is not a burden. It's actually nice to get away once in a while.
And we're getting pretty good internet around here, and there's a lot of online shopping.
Yeah, and even I'll tell you, even the small things like internet. I won't say who my provider is so that somebody doesn't think that I'm
endorsing
them. But I would tell you, in 18 to 20, my personal cell phone was almost useless unless I was at home. I come back here in 2022, and it's good everywhere. There's a single spot between Fort Johnson and Alexandria where I lose it for about a mile and a half.
Yeah, there's a couple of metal.
Better.
There's a couple of metal buildings on post that just it's like a Faraday cage.
Well, that's fair too. Yeah, that's anywhere. I've been, but I've been in the middle of cities or in the middle. The one that I really don't understand a lot of times is airports. And I don't know whether it's a conspiracy to get you to jump on their Wi-Fi or something, but.
Yeah, they like to track you and stuff. So what are some of the visions that you have that you would like to try to get initiated before your term's up here?
Yeah, I think a couple of them that we've been working on. I mean, number one, from a training center standpoint, we've always really led the way in meeting the Army training where it needs to go, because we're not sort of looking back at past conflicts, but what do we need to help to get ready for? So we will really do a lot more beyond the brigades that have come here to train and help provide more opportunities to divisions that come here, help provide more opportunities to other types of brigades like division artilleries, sustainment brigades, combat aviation brigades, do a lot more in the electromagnetic spectrum, do a lot more to push sustainment. So there's a lot of things on the training center side that we've got our eye on. On the installation side, as we take care of our soldiers and family members, the things that are helping us, build resiliency in the programs that we have. I've been pretty outspoken about reducing sexual assault and harassment and all the things that we can do. And I think it's important. When I came in, I said it's absolutely possible for us to go from 1 month meeting to the next month meeting and have 0 cases. And people looked at me like I was crazy. And we've done that now several times. And so it's good to see that that's possible. This is a problem that we can solve together. Other ways that we can help increase behavioral health resources, and understanding that not every challenge that someone has requires clinical care, and that we have a number of folks that can help, whether it's financial counseling is really what someone needs. That's what's causing them stress. It's not their mental well-being. It's if we solve the financial challenge. And so reinforcing some of those programs in an overarching kind of sense, what I really hope to get accomplished is that everyone thinks and understands and appreciates that they're part of the solution, that really we're all, if you're a leader in this installation, if you're a company command team, commander, first sergeant, all the way up to the command sergeant major and I, we're all on the same team. We can solve problems very quickly if we're all, going the same way together, and if we know about them. And so to me, that's important, is that at a place like this, we're not small, but we're big enough to have every program, and we're small enough to know who each other are and to see each other and to know who can help solve problems. And so the more we can work together to solve those problems and challenges, or even better, anticipate and mitigate against those problems forming for our soldiers and family members, the better.
Yeah, education and training. Know how to identify the problem, communication, get get it out there. It's hard to know how to fix something if you don't know what's broken. So the communication, the education, the prevention, and getting it down to 0, getting even a harassment or something that's people may not know they're harassing, but with the proper training now we're noticing, or now they'll know what it is, and that's getting it down to zero is impressive. It's impressive.
I mean, that's and I think I've always had people as a priority ever since battalion command. I took command of a battalion in 2011. It always bothered me that the people before that, the leaders that put people on their chart, on their slide, on their it was always like the last thing. It was always I know I should put this on there, but it was always, the sixth or seventh thing. So for me, it's always been pretty high up there. And simply said, to me, what that means is drop what you're doing and help someone if they need a hand. I mean, to me, my two priorities here are caring for our soldiers and building readiness. And I say you've got to put that together. I don't know that that's two different priorities. I think it's the same thing. What I ask people at newcomers every week is, if I take you out as a soldier and we do good PT, am I building readiness? Am I taking care of you? If your spouse has a challenge or one of your children has a challenge, am I taking care of you? Am I building readiness? I mean, it's really one and the same sort of thing. And so, to me, what people first, what caring about people, for me, I always say people matter. It's about commitment. It's about the teamwork and what you engender in the formation. And I think it goes a long way when you're willing to drop what you're doing and help somebody. I was at the dining facility one time eating, because the Sergeant Major and I'll try to go about once a week. And I was sitting with a soldier. I said, hey, is there anything, you need help with, any challenges? And he said, well, sir, there's a couple things, but they're small. I don't need to bother you with them. I said, no, I love small problems, right? Like, those are the best. We can solve those right away. Give me as many of those as you have. It's the big challenging ones where we got to, work it up the Army. But look, our job is to solve the small problems, solve everything on the installation we can, and then to make the Army understand the other challenges so they can appropriately prioritize them and help us solve them too.
Absolutely. And getting a bunch of little things add up. I mean, like collecting a penny is just a penny, but you get 100 of them, you get $1.
Yeah, absolutely.
They pile up. So now we've got the holidays coming up, and of course, you want everyone to be safe and don't drink and drive and know your limits. And it's like the message that I've seen lately is, we know you're going to go out and you're going to enjoy and imbibe and all that stuff, but just know your limits and be responsible. I mean, be adults. We're all adults, so know your limits. And nothing is worth ruining your career over.
Yeah, or frankly, your safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yes, there's a career element to it, but the Sergeant Major, and I mean it sincerely. I mean, everybody who takes leave or goes away, we want to see them back here, right? I mean, we care about them. So, to me, it's not just about the materialistic, your career, which I know is important, and I don't want to see that either. Don't get me wrong, but it's also about your safety. It's about your well-being, and I think a lot of times what our significant leave periods, whether that's during the summer, whether it's during the Christmas and the holidays, even whether it's during Thanksgiving, sometimes that means we go back home and we kind of forget the Army side. It's a good opportunity to unwind. Don't get me wrong. It's a great opportunity to see old friends and see folks, but we've always got to be mindful that we're something different now. We're a soldier now. I think those people, when we go back home, look at us that way as well. So there's that expectation. But sometimes we get caught up in maybe some of the things we did when we were younger. You shouldn't maybe do those anymore. Maybe we just get caught up in the crowd. Maybe we don't want to be the stuffy one. But we've got standards now, and we've got a conduct that's expected of us. And so I think that's one of the greatest risks, that if we just be mindful of, whenever we leave, whether it's for leave or frankly when we finish our service, we are a soldier for life, and we're a soldier 24/7. We don't have to get up for PT every day when we're on leave, right? That's the good part about leave. We don't have to shave when we're on leave, but we still are a soldier, and we're still expected to do those things that soldiers do and to make the smart choices that we expect.
Now, everybody celebrates something around here. What are your favorite? Are you celebrating this holiday season?
So we always try to take advantage of this to be home with family. We will likely spend Thanksgiving with our family. I know we may air this after that, but that's important. We don't get to do it often, and that's really when the family mostly gets together. My favorite holiday of the year, honestly, is Halloween because I really enjoy.
I love Halloween.
Seeing the kids dress up. We gave out all the big candy bars on the street. I missed it, unfortunately, this year. I had to go do something for the Army. That's typically the favorite one. But, really to me, I think one of the reasons that my wife and I and family have been able to stay strong for so long in the military is, for us, it's really about the family time. And so what holidays represent is time to be together as a family and taking advantage of that. And so that's what we typically look forward to.
Any favorite movies or songs or anything that you're not looking forward to? Because a lot of people, they see the holidays coming, they see Christmas coming, and it's like, oh, great, here comes All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah. No, I don't mind the music. I don't necessarily turn the radio station on and get into it. I certainly, I'm not disappointed when I'm walking to a store and it's playing the music. It is fun to watch some of the stuff. I mean, for Thanksgiving, once in a while, the family and I will marathon the old sitcom Friends. Which I know doesn't appeal to the young audience now, but just watching their Thanksgiving episodes and kind of binging that. We do like a lot of the Christmas movies. Elf is always a pleaser. We enjoy Four Christmases, and so we enjoy kind of that spectrum of feel good to the reality of holidays kind of comedies. And then let's not forget Die Hard was a Christmas movie too.
Absolutely.
So
there's only two types of people: those that think that Die Hard was a Christmas movie, and those that are wrong.
Right.
So, and then after that we got the New Year's coming up, and of course, be safe for that. And do you do the New Year's resolutions?
Not really. I don't know that we do the New Year's resolutions. I like to, if there's something we got to change, I'd rather not wait for the first of the year. It's interesting. Go to the gym on the first Monday after New Year's, right? And it's always packed, and then it starts to bleed off. And by January 31st, it's the same folks that were in there in November, kind of thing. But no, we enjoy doing some of the tradition, New Year's reception. We do enjoy, staying up with the kids. As the kids got older, we can stay up to midnight with them, sort of thing. When they were younger, we were going to bed because they were going to get up early on January 1st. They were still getting up at 5 or 6 a.m. So
now one of the traditions that I really liked in the military was Thanksgiving and Christmas meals at the dining facility. The 2 days a year that I got to be served by the officers, they served me the food instead of the other way around, or
yeah.
So did you participated in every year?
Yeah, it's a great tradition. I've really always enjoyed doing that. This year with travel and some of the Veterans Day, and then a lot of the units on the installation are taking some opportunity leave. So where they would have advanced those, I was able to get by Geronimo when they did their big meal. I was able to get by BJAC. It is great to see all the leaders out there serving. This is one of the first years I can recall where I have not been able to get in my dress uniform and serve, but it was really nice to go over there and be with them and see the soldiers having a good time. But I've historically really enjoyed doing that. The family will come with me. They'll eat Thanksgiving dinner. Usually like last year, I know the Hanson family and us, we all went same time. Families were eating. He and I served, and then we sat down and ate our meal.
Nice.
So it is a great tradition.
Do we do this around Christmas also?
It depends. Yes, we can. Thanksgiving's really been the tradition, but I know a lot of the dining facilities will do, a particular Christmas meal or something like that. So
yeah,
and the other tradition is I'll do a New Year's reception this year after the New Year, and so it's a great time to have all the leaders here, all the community folks come and engage.
Yeah, those have always been my favorite meals. They were the best ones out of the thing. And my first Thanksgiving and my first Christmas meals were in basic training.
Right.
So I got the full thing. But General Gardner, I appreciate you coming in. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a really busy guy and you've got other things to do. And I really do appreciate it. It took a year to get you in here, or just over a year to get you in here. And I was really excited to have you in. And I'd love to have you back someday. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry it's taking so long, but it's funny. Like anything else, you try to get the problem solved, but when you talk to me and I get involved, like I can solve it pretty quick and I can be down here right away. So I appreciate having an opportunity, and I love the podcast. I appreciate what you're doing, every single week to get some of the messages out particularly from some of the programs and some of the folks that work around here that don't necessarily have that platform to reach a wide audience. So I think what you're doing is, again, incredibly valuable because there's a lot of great things going on. And you're one of the ones that helps us advertise that so people understand it.
Well, thank you very much. And, well, that is going to be awesome for us because I appreciate everyone that comes in, especially General Gardner, taking time out of his busy schedule. I'm Jeff England from the Fort Johnson Public Affairs Office, and you've been watching the Fort Johnson podcast, and we'll be watching and listening at you later.
That was easy.